Hello, folks. Well, another edition of the Farm and Ranch Records class. Um, this is going to be a real short video. I think it's kind of self-explanatory. Just one last thing from last week. Part of your assignment, in addition to the T accounts that we worked on, was to actually go into your Google Drive account and build a folder and a subfolder for each week. Some of you were a little bit unclear about that, so go back and review the video that I put together for you last week, and I think you'll get to that. I want you to turn in things in that way, rather than just turn in the file itself. Put it in the folder for the week. We're going to have 4 or 5 reports coming out of QuickBooks, and I want you just to be able to put them in one folder for that week. And that's how we're one subfolder, in fact. So a lot of you got it that way, and I know there's there's a little bit of a learning curve here, but I think as far as from this side of the monitor, it's going to be a little bit easier for me to keep track of it. I think from your side it will too. At least that's my hopes. Okay. We're going to talk a little bit. I've got a few videos that are below this one that talk about accrual versus cash accounting. And of course, it's really a fairly simple concept. Cash accounting, we record anything when they're actually, we see the cash, okay? So if we sell something, we get a check, put it in the bank, we deposit it, that would be a revenue or income, and we record it at that same time. That's a cash accounting step there. Expenditures or expenses, as we write the check, we would expense whatever that particular item was. Okay, in order to actually get a truer picture of profitability, we have to actually look at our books in an accrual sense, and there's 2 parts of that: the revenue and the expense side, like we talked about in the cash. But the important part of it is that the revenue is recognized when it's earned, okay? And not before that, not after that. The other part is the expenses associated with that revenue are not incurred until we have generated the income from those expenses. So, for instance, most of the time in agriculture, just to kind of give yourself a little bit of a rule of thumb, and we're all about practicality in records. I don't like to get into discussions like this with real accountants, but you have to do what works. Revenues generated at harvest. If you can get that one down, then you're going to be way ahead of everybody else, okay? And then those expenses that it took you to get to that point would be incurred at that time. Say we've got some malt barley that comes off the 20th of July. We would record the revenue for that, whether we put it in the bin or we actually sold it to one, maybe Coors or Budweiser or one of the major beer manufacturers. Okay, so that revenue is earned right then, whether we sell it or we don't. We put it in the bin. Any of the expenses, the fertilizer, the seed, the tillage, and labor and all that kind of stuff, maybe some depreciation on equipment, land rent expense, those would be incurred at the time that we harvested that malt barley. On a livestock operation, we would actually, harvest takes place at weaning. And you can kind of, those things kind of match up, okay? So 1st October, we wean our calves, and maybe we dry lot them for a little while. But at the time that we wean them is actually a time that we actually will show that we've generated that revenue. Practicality, again, is, if a couple weeks later, maybe we sell them at that point and they're delivered off the farm or ranch, then maybe 2 weeks is not going to make a difference in our production record system. We may actually show it in our accounting books for a practical reason at that point. But any of the expenses to get that calf to the sale point or the harvest point would be incurred at that time that we wean or we actually ship them out of there. Okay, so if we keep them for a huge length of time, like some of my neighbors do, like into the next spring or something like that, then we're gonna have to show the at weaning in the fall as the actual harvest time for those calves. Okay, all right. Hopefully that helps. Take a look at those videos that I posted for you. Let me know if you're having any trouble, and make sure that you have built a folder and subfolders that you put each week's work in. Okay, thank you.